This episode, Handypersons, what else can you do? Well, John and we were talking the other day, and as Handypersons, we decided we wanted to do a show on how to help you expand your market out, but this was also for customers as well. The question is what other skills do you have that you can help your customers save time, money, and aggravation on their home maintenance and repair? What other skills sets do you have that you might be able to monetize? And conversely, as a homeowner, what other services does your handy person possibly is he able to do for you? Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show, home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros. Welcome to another edition of the Handyman Pros Radio Show, where our goal is to help save you time, money, and aggravation on your home maintenance and repair. This edition's entitled Handypersons, What Else Can You Do? And to help me explain, here's my ever cheerful co-host and old buddy John, who's a handy person who always has lots and lots of different things that Johnny can do. And we won't even get into some of the things that, because it's just not appropriate for a family show.
Oh,
Johnny, what's going on this week?
You're always nice. One of the things is one of the things that we were talking about was getting more business, or adding more business with your current customers, right? And a lot of the folks out there that we know have a lot of skills, talents that can be utilized outside of the traditional things that we talk about, which is fixing just the house, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and for me, a lot of this comes out even in the home repair around the house. My customers will ask me questions. Well, can you do this? And I'm like, well, sure, I can do that. And part of that is, I guess I haven't done a really good job in communicating to my customers what skills that I actually have. And there are certain things like that I don't do. If somebody said, well, my child needs a kidney transplant, can you do that? And I'll say, hey, I've been on YouTube and I've looked at all those things and I think I can do it. Let's transplant that kidney. No, that's not going to happen. But there are things, and we've, you and I talk about this stuff all the time because we talk a lot as it is anyway. But we talk about things like small engine repair or some of the things that you and I do. We've done this for years just because we've done it for ourselves, and we've gotten relatively proficient at some of these activities. We generally, like, some things we don't do for money, but some things we do for money. But how do you communicate that to your customers, right? I mean, and so it was a bit of a I don't know, a revelation, John. What would you say? How did we come up with the idea for this show?
Well, we just did a show on fixing pressure washers, and
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna turn down that job. I mean, that's my background, and not just pressure washers, but engines and, just maintenance. And I thought, hey, I'll take that, I'll help you out. I can take that job. And that got this, thinking, well, there's a lot of things that, that, like I started out saying, was that there's a lot of people out there with a lot of talents and skills and things like that you can utilize to help out your customers. And they're all appreciative.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. My neighbor said, he's like, hey man, my pressure washer, he goes, I know you can do a whole bunch of stuff. My pressure washer's bad. It doesn't work anymore. And I said, well, let me take a look at it, fix that. I've worked on, he's got a golf cart, worked on that. It's all these things, right? It's, not just fixing, the plumbing and the toilet and wood rot and that kind of stuff, but you can do all kinds of things, and everybody's happy about it,
Yeah, and some of the things, like, I'm just thinking about, you brought up the two examples right there of the golf cart and the pressure washer, and we did the show on the pressure washer, so go listen to that. But the golf cart, for example. So you're over at in this case, he's close to you, so it's no big deal for you to drive over there. But if you're at somebody's house and you happen to see a golf cart and you say, hey, I've done a little work on golf carts, because gas-powered golf carts are not very complex. If you're a motor guy, you kind of get it, right? But this is a skill set that you in particular have. And for him to try to get that golf cart repaired, He's got to trailer it someplace, or somebody's got to come pick it up. It becomes a major hassle for somebody to try to get some of this
That's
fixed,
correct.
you know? So if you come in as the handyman, you take away a lot of that, angst, lack of a better word, or the thing sits there unrepaired forever. And you say, hey, I've had some experience with it, like, and golf carts are a good example. I've actually too have had some experience with
Mm-hmm.
golf carts because we had them at the gun club, and you know, I've done enough repairs on golf carts that I certainly would take a look at it. Doesn't mean I'd necessarily repair it, but chances are, if it's something simple, I can fix it, and they don't have to hire somebody else, and so forth and so on. So you relieve some of these things, and in these cases too, like we've talked about our business models. My business model is largely evolving towards a day long type jobs. I'm really now, most of my jobs are people hire me for the whole day and give me that long to-do list. I want that long to-do list, and that allows me to do my schedule. Anyway, it's not all about that, but things like that roll right into this stuff, where it just rolls right into it. I do a lot of, for whatever reason, I do a lot of drainage for people, and I don't really know how I've gotten into that business, but I will notice, usually I notice like mud pits in their yards and things. And I'm like, you can fix that. And they go, well, how? And I look at it, and I can see the grade and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I end up doing a lot of jobs like that just because I see it,
Yeah.
and I see
Well,
what it's
well,
doing.
the point here is that it's easier to keep customers. It's easier to get additional business from current customers than to find new prospects. So if you can,
Correct.
it's like any business, and there's all kinds of things that I do for people. That that are kind of right up my alley, which is not a big deal. I mean, um, fixing cars, to a point. I don't have a $10,000 in computers and stuff like that to plug into the OBDs. But it's all these kind of things to take a look and say, hey man, I can do that. And there's a lot of people out there that might be in that kind of background that say, hey, I'm getting out of this thing and I want to get into the handyman thing. And traditionally, when you and I are talking about this, it's just fixing stuff inside the house. But there's also they have lawnmowers. Okay, people have lawnmowers. And maybe I actually ran into this down the street here. They couldn't get their lawnmower started. Well,
Wow. Yeah.
guess what? I'm there. You know,
It
I
it, it brings
got
it's
kids. I
funny.
got kids. The kids next door, their go karts couldn't get them started. Here I'll do it. Couldn't keep them running the engine. It's all that kind of stuff. I mean, I have all those the tools for engines and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't a big deal for me. But you kind of when you start to think outside the box, if you can do these kind of things, you just kind of need to ask. All right.
Right. And it's twofold. So thinking of lawnmowers is a good example. So it's springtime,
Yeah.
obviously one of the things I think about always is, is your lawnmower blade
Right.
sharp?
Exactly.
And when's the last time you sharpened your lawnmower blade? Well, I have a 4-inch
Right.
grinder. It sits in my truck. I use it for, home handy repair work anyway,
Exactly.
largely for cutting, but I can sharpen a blade in no time because I do it for myself all the time. And a sharp lawnmower blade makes a huge difference, right? That's just a little add-on service you can do for somebody. If again, as I was saying, I'm doing a day's worth of work. So if I'm looking for something to do, it takes me 4.5 minutes to pull off the lawnmower blade from somebody's lawnmower and just run
Well,
sharpen up the blade. It's just a little add-on. There's add-on services you can do all over the place. One thing I do want to say, I just want to make one comment too. Folks, if you're a homeowner and you have some of these issues and or things you're not even thinking of, ask your handyman. He might be able to do it for you.
exactly.
You never know. I mean, the worst thing he can say is no. You know,
Here's a
it,
classic. Speaking of golf cart and the angst on letting it sit there. You got to call them up. It's got to be picked up. It's got to be brought to service.
yeah, yeah,
I ask, hey, when's the last time your lawnmower was tuned up? And once again, it's the same thing. Whether it's the blade, whether it's a tune up, it's like I gotta call somebody because I don't have a trailer to put this lawnmower on. I gotta ship it out. I gotta wait 3 weeks while it sits in the in the queue with 100 other lawnmowers. Um, you get, just ask, like you just said, ask your handyman, or this is a way to get some additional business. If you're comfortable doing these kind of things, tune up the lawnmower, and to bring it anywhere, it's right there. Take you a couple hours, and you're done.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just kind of one of those things. There's most handy people that we've met and we talk to have a tremendous skill set.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a tremendous skill set, and it just comes from years and years of experience in doing multiple things. They tend to be I'm going to say DIY type people, meaning they're not afraid to try anything largely, and like John's very much a motor. I call him a motorhead. He really likes doing engine repair and all of things really mechanical, like all the things involved with vehicles and all that kind of thing. And I come from that background as well. I've done in my world, I've kind of done enough of it in my life where I'll fix small engines and stuff like that. And I'll fix things that like golf carts and lawnmowers where it's hard to move, doing it as more or less as a favor to my customer, not a favor. I don't want to make it sound like that, but doing it as a service on site for my customers, just because they're my customer. It's not something I generally go out of my way to try to go do and repair. And I don't think you do either, John. But we certainly will take the business if it's there, because it's a benefit to our customers, for all things. Cause we try to be, I don't say we're catch all, we're not, but we
Well,
I try to offer as much service
yeah.
as
Let
possible.
me say this. It goes back to where your comfort level is. You're not comfortable
Right.
doing it, then obviously don't do it. I am. I'll take on appliance repair. So I get calls about hey, my refrigerator doesn't work, or I have no problem doing a little research on it, going out and going to the point where either I can diagnose what the issue is or fix the whole thing altogether.
Right. Yep.
So but we always say, don't, just be honest with everybody, if and yourself. If you're not comfortable doing it, don't do it.
And it lends to what we've talked about this on numerous occasions, but the ability to say no in this case, or to do a good diagnosis for somebody, is really of huge. Being that trusted advisor is of huge value to you as a handy person, and it's of huge value to you as a homeowner to have a handy person who can give you a good evaluation on a situation that you have. I'm going to use an example today, John. I'm actually have a job later this afternoon where a customer had a roof leak, and the water has bubbled out the drywall and gotten into the carpet down below from the roof. It's come down inside the walls. And she doesn't, this is an insurance claim and so forth and so on, but she wants me to just check out and assess the damage for her and give my opinion on it. And I'm actually getting paid for that. I'm don't know if I'll actually accept the money, but that's a whole separate issue. She's a long-term customer. She's been a great customer over the years. And it's just kind of one of those things. But she wants my opinion on this deal because she trusts me and she knows I'm going to shoot straight with her,
Well,
you know?
I think that's awesome. And we always say that the handyman is really a trusted advisor. All you folks out there that have that are handymen, that's kind of where you want to be, and I'm sure a lot of you are. And as a homeowners, it's nice to have a handyman that can help you make these determinations. Because if it's
Yeah, that's a bucket of resources, basically. If
yeah,
you're a bucket of resources, it gives you just one more leg up. If you know enough about engines, cars, whatever, you can say, there's a good chance it's this.
hmm
And they don't, and they walk in and they need a tune up, and the guy goes, well, your brakes are bad and your transmission's bad, and because
yeah.
they'll try to sell you upsell you as much as possible. And if you have a knowledge base, and be careful, obviously, don't work outside your comfort zone. But there's a lot of things that just through the years, you and I have lots of experience in motors and engines and all kinds of things. I mean,
hmm
all over the John was an A&P mechanic. So folks, A&P is air plant and power frame. And that means that he can work on airplanes, which is in and of itself an extremely valuable certification. It's not something most people have. And what happens when an engine doesn't run on an airplane is airplanes crash. So it's a little different than just working on your car. But anyway, be that as it may, these are just experiences that we've had as life experiences, and I don't mind sharing my knowledge on some of this stuff. Trust me, I just don't. And John, I think you're the same way, right?
Yeah, Yeah, I have. I'm always there to, to either say yes, I can either diagnose this and fix it, or hey, man, that's way outside my purview. I'm not that guy. So but once again, getting back to kind of the takeaway of this whole show is, if you're comfortable doing these kind of things, ask. Or get in
Yeah,
these
ask.
conversations with your customer, and you know what? They might even say, "Hey, you know what? I don't. My neighbor does." I mean, and then you always get the, "I never knew you could do that kind of thing."
Exactly.
You
That's
know,
exactly
and
it.
it, and there you go, and it opens up another avenue.
So, Johnny, I was looking the other day, I was out on the internet. Somehow I got into the interstellar internet. Do you realize that you are now becoming a source for repair of spaceships? You've taken so many of the darn things apart that now you're out there on a directory in the intergalactic continuum. People are looking for you. I saw Captain Kirk even put a recommendation on for you to do repairs. Do you believe that, Bull?
Is he still alive?
He is. It should be on your list, by the way, because he's circling the drain. Anyway,
Not Captain Kirk.
so John, so folks, I have to explain that
No,
John
no,
is
no,
a
no,
John.
no.
Oh, Johnny, come on, it's so good.
um,
Anyway, keep going.
Listen, my garage is so full of these things right now. I can't take on any more business.
All right. With that, folks, we hope you enjoy this insanity we call the Handyman Pros Radio Show. We hope we're giving you good tips and tricks. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please send us an email, questions at Handyman Pros Radio Show or handymanprosradioshow@gmail.com. Either way, you will get a hold of us. We would love to answer questions or if you have ideas for shows, whatever. We are out there on Facebook at Handyman Pros as well. We do post a couple of tips and tricks every once in a while out there. We're getting better at it. But you want content, we'll give it to you. Just send us a note. And with that, we'll see you next week on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.